horror, doom, despair. I am of course talking about the Call of Cthulhu Halloween special. This is actually an old roleplay video series from my old channel that I'm re-uploading here, just for the sake of, I guess, continuity and having all the videos I think are worth keeping on the one place. And this is also with my good friend Tom, who unfortunately has never really turned out to be a consistent presence on the channel, which is a shame. But we get what we can. We get what we can, and it's also in some ways appealing to his horror sensibilities. He's not a big fantasy guy, but a more modern setting I felt would have appeal to him more. Investigation, and likewise the Call of Cthulhu game itself is just as old, just as well known as D&D. Maybe not to the general role player, but to DMs, dungeon masters, game masters, things like that, keeper of secrets, so on. Yeah, I mean, Call of Cthulhu is a classic system, really, and it's survived for so long because it's in some ways better than D&D at what it does. The way that the characters evolve, the lethality of the system, if you want it to play out that way, and just the flexibility of the system. I believe there was some post wrap-up in this video that Tom himself said he really liked as a new addition to the whole Call of Cthulhu mythos, which was gangsters and that, and all the kind of mythos he had read, that he never came across gangsters interacting with cultists. And for me, that was just kind of a common sense addition to the module that we're going to be playing today. But just it never appears in the stories. And for me, I feel like the system of Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium Games, or Chaosium, really allows for a kind of open-ended experience even within the modules they've written. And of course, the module we're playing today is, let me double check the name. Yes, the name of the module we're playing today is The Haunting. It's a classic Call of Cthulhu module. I'm no expert on the modules. I know it's an old module. I know it's a good module, and it's one I definitely want to give a try. And we're not playing it as written, though. We are taking what we had, which I found the module to be to the point, but also maybe a little light on the real unknown horrors of the Cthulhu universe, and that's something that my friend Tom appreciates, and I think that's a lot of what a lot of people appreciate about Call of Cthulhu. So I have made some additions to the module. I haven't taken anything away. It's still the same module. It's still The Haunting, but I've definitely added in a few extra characters, a few extra concepts, and quite a bit of improvisational work, which is my preference in terms of DMing style or game mastering style. And in the end, you have quite a meaty experience. Feel free to take this series as inspiration for running your own games of The Haunting, and I would love to hear in the comments your own experiences of how players react to The Haunting. But I find that in my personal experience, there isn't enough NPC encounters that are hostile. There isn't, and the build up near the end, you can the players, the PCs can easily outnumber the final threat. But look, I don't get into too many details. I think this is going to be an excellent video, and yes, it's one from my old channel, as I said before, and that is, well, I should probably touch on that briefly, is the reason for the lower quality, because this was originally recorded as a stream. Nowadays I prefer to use recordings because I can get a more sharp finish on the video, but that's the reason, like the names and the numbers and all that are slightly out of focus, or more so that they're in lower quality, because ultimately it was recorded as a stream, a live stream. But the content is still there, and yes, I think you're going to enjoy. So yeah, sit back and enjoy this vintage roleplay video. The landlord of a house in Boston. So you actually, from what I understand, your character actually comes from Arkham, and you're traveling to Boston. Okay. And the problem is that the previous tenants of the house were involved in an accident. Strange things are happening in the house, and basically the landlord, knowing your background as an academic, and also I guess being a friend of the landlord, wants you to just do some research, find out what's going on, and try and dig up like the history on the place and anything that could help in terms of what's going on. Like, is there, for example, like, is there a murderer hiding around, or is there a prankster, or is there something, is there something going on with the house that's just unusual, or the area that's unusual?
Yeah.
And being unfamiliar with Boston, he gives you a couple of locations that he recommends visiting. One is the Boston Globe, which is their newspaper. And from what I did my research, it seems to be a real newspaper. Then you have the Central Library, which is a library, and then you have the Hall of
Mm.
Records. So there's any kind of historical records of note. So those are like the three main locations. And what I've done here is I've created a map to try and tie the place together. You're a professor in the university, and before you arrive, I was going to let you have a choice of who you can invite on the essentially the journey or the help you with the research. Those three different students in particular.
Okay.
One is a history student, one
Mm.
is an engineering student,
Uh-huh.
and one is a science student.
Okay.
And you have to basically decide which one of these will be most helpful to you in your investigation.
Do I have to choose now for the whole game, or can I?
You could, well, technically you could come back, but that'd be a hell of a journey, Tom,
Yeah. Okay.
because you're leaving Arkham and you're traveling to Boston. So like there isn't a hard time limit on the investigation, but obviously the landlord is somewhat anxious for sure to get his house rented. So if the investigations takes too long, he'll start asking like how it's going. Can we get some movement on this? But
I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna take the scientist.
okay, you're gonna go for the scientist.
Yeah.
Okay, so you basically make your way down to the science lab. You find this person, but you have to convince them to go with you.
Okay.
So that would require one of your skills.
Uh, well, I can persuade.
Do
My
a persuasion,
persuade is
yeah. So you need to give me
yeah.
a persuade roll.
And what dice do I select for that to persuade?
So that would be
Is
2d10.
2d10.
Or a D100. D100 would probably be a better choice.
Right.
Yeah, this is a D100 game.
Oh, what happened there? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
D100.
D100. D100. Not necessarily a 2d10, because that doesn't tell me the low number and the high number. So D100. And let me know when you roll there. So that's a 58.
That's a little better, right?
Yes, you have to roll. You have to roll underneath your skill.
By 60, which was 60.
Yeah,
So
to
wow,
convince them.
close there. Fuck.
That's no problem. So you've got that character going.
I say, you there, boy. Here you're a scientist. You're coming with me.
Okay, let's just add that character in. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
There's a shiny silver dollar for you. Yeah. Oh, a lady.
A lady. We're in the 1920s, but we have science students, female. Interesting.
A woman.
A
I
woman.
say.
So this is a woman that you've known for some time, just in the school. You're basically going around. You're thinking of students that you trust, and also are promising in terms of, I guess, their academic career.
Kiko Kane. She Chinese, I wonder, or Japanese?
Chinese, Japanese. Doesn't actually specify. Well, maybe it does. I didn't read all the
I'm
backstories.
gonna lean towards Japanese, and Kiko, I think, is Japanese. But yeah. Yes. Okay,
You add that
so
character in.
she is. Yeah. Language, Japanese, other. Not very good at it, though.
Really?
Amazing. Yeah. English, she's very good at. Natural world.
Yeah, she's not great at
16.
Japanese. No, not really. Well, see, she's not a linguist. She's a scientist.
Biology as well. Yeah. Okay, so she's got, library, natural world. Persuade is all right.
Her science on biology is amazing.
Biology and science and stealth.
Yep.
Yeah.
She also moves faster. She's faster. I'm not really too worried about movement. She's definitely quicker. And in terms of her weapons, she's actually got some weapons. Hockey stick. I wonder if she's from Canada.
Really? Hockey stick?
She has a hockey stick. It's like a bit of a Scooby-Doo weapon, isn't it?
It is. And also, where is she storing the hockey stick? Just walking around with a hockey stick all the time?
I don't know. Maybe she has it for emergencies.
Or does
But
it
yeah.
always travels with a hockey stick?
Oh, it also has a penknife. A little better than
Better than a hockey stick.
this. But her dodge is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not great. The old dodge. So she's got to be standing in front of me, I think.
That's true. Right? Okay, so I think I'll let you continue to check out the university and try and go for some more students if you like. So there's two other students that you know. It's the history student and the engineer.
Can I bring them too?
You
Or is it just
do
one?
have the option. I'm going to cap this at some point. So that was an easy persuasion. This is going to go up to a difficult one because
Okay.
after a certain point, there's too like you know it's hard. It gets hard to convince them because they're not going alone. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I consider myself the historian.
Hmm.
I'm a bit of a bookman here with the languages and the library use and whatnot. So I might go with the engineer
Okay, so we're going to need persuasion.
this time around. So
Trickier
D100.
roll. Going to need to be 30 or less.
What? Can do that if I tried.
What's your roll?
100.
100.
Could have done it if I tried.
Okay.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
there's a couple of things you can do here. One
Okay.
is just go without basically, and try the other student. The other option is called push your luck. So the idea
Okay.
here would be that you have the option really. So you can push your luck, which will mean that you're doing something in this situation that would make it more convincing that they'd want to go with you. So you're doing something role play wise, narrative wise, to get a second chance at the persuasion. But if you fail, something bad can happen.
Okay.
So, for example, you could either be using intimidation or suggestion or money, and it could work, but it could also backfire. So this is what they call pushing your luck in this game,
Oh, well.
which is literally what you're doing. Now, you don't have to do it, but if you do want this character, the only way you could is to push your luck, or you could just move on to the next student. There's one left
Yeah.
that you're friendly enough with that you could convince. So your option there.
How do I? So pushing my luck. What do I have to roll for pushing my luck?
It's the same thing,
Or do
persuasion, but before you do it, you have to describe how you're pushing your luck, as much as you would
Right.
in real life. You've come in,
Okay.
you've made the offer, and they're not really convinced. They have their school
Do I
to
know?
think about. You know, you've already got someone to help you out, so they don't see a huge benefit here.
Is it a man or a woman? I'm curious.
Actually, it is a woman. Her name is Lois Rousseau.
Rousseau sounds French. Okay.
Quite an attractive
Okay.
woman.
Okay. And what's the name of the historian student? Might as well
Story
just-
history student is Jessie Williams. She's actually a black woman. So
Okay.
all the students are female, actually.
Okay. And if I fuck up this persuade, can I go talk to Jesse Williams, or is
Oh,
that cut off for me?
absolutely. No. That's not cut off at all. You absolutely can do that. The only
Alright,
thing of
okay,
pushing your luck is how you describe your pushing your luck, and there could be ramifications in this particular interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it went really bad, yeah, maybe you could be kicked out of the university, but I don't think you were there yet.
Okay.
Because I mean, you are asking for something that's a bit extracurricular. You're asking to travel with you as a personal favor. It has nothing really to do with school. You're just you're doing a personal favor thing here that maybe will help them in their future studies, kind of thing. But it does seem a bit strange. So yeah,
Well, this is the 1920s, so I can get away with a little bit more. So,
you
all
can.
right, Mr. So let's talk here. So how about if you come with me to this happening and Boston. I'll make it worth your while regarding the study, maybe money, maybe your name on the new faculty lounge. Who knows? Promise of wealth.
Okay, so it piques interest.
This could further your career, Miss Rousseau.
Okay, so what she says in response is that if you can help her be involved in like a series of papers, a series of research papers in engineering, if you could help connect her to the right person, because you're in the wrong department. You're more a language. You're an English. You're an English major. You're not engineering. But if you like connect her with the right people, help her get into like the latest paper, which is a bit out of the realm of what they normally deal with, but could definitely springboard her career, especially if it's like a noteworthy journal, like an important magazine or something like that. If you could help with that, then she would certainly be interested. So it's not unreasonable that you would have those connections at all. You're nearly in your 60s. You're near retirement, I guess, in academic sense. Yeah, you could definitely offer that to her. So you know what? I don't think I'm gonna make it too hard. Actually, I think I could have made it a hard roll, but I think actually you might just go a basic persuasion roll. It's just that you risk. It's still more you're risking, but the roll I think is gonna be fairly easy.
Well, I did roll a 100 without even trying, so here we go. 17.
17. Okay, she's convinced. She's going with you.
Perfect.
That's the lowest or so. You have an engineer coming with you. But you have a favor to do for her when you come back.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, she's got drive, auto, electric. Yeah, she's got basic. Fighting, brawl is good. Intimidate, good. Jump, good. Language, good. Italian, not so good. Navigate, basic. Mechanic repair, good. Track, it's running, I assume, is decent, I suppose.
It could also be tracking people.
True.
It's not clear.
I would assume that's track as in.
Okay. You could be
running.
Right. I mean, the one I'm talking about would probably be under stealth anyway. So. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Her dodge is not so good, but oh well.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I think she's all right. I think that the fact that she's an engineering student, so her specialty is definitely mechanical repair. That really stands out. Her intimidation is quite good. Jump is quite good.
Man of my age with these lovely women in the 1920s.
Yeah.
People will talk.
That's very true. I noticed that their credit ratings are quite good as well. They're everyone so far is quite well off. The way this game works is you don't have money like in D&D you have gold, right? In this you have a credit rating, which is like what could you reasonably afford? And if you could afford it, we kind of hand wave the money. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So everyone here seems quite well off, financially speaking. You're not going to struggle to pay for meals or get a taxi or anything like that. Because I guess it ties into the fact that they're quite well educated.
Okay. And I assume I can't talk to Jesse Williams. That's the end of that.
You can, but I mean, success is getting pretty low here. I mean, your party's getting pretty full.
Okay.
I mean, that might you could talk to her, but maybe you should leave some of these contacts in case you need them later.
Okay.
If the dead bodies start piling up, or if something's taking, if you need to call a favor for some specific reason, as opposed to just pulling more and more people into this and getting a difficult role, for no reason when it could be an easier role later. Yeah, I don't see a reason to pull out more people from the university at this point.
All right.
Okay, so
There's
you
somewhere
all
around the head.
arrive. You should have 3 characters available to you now on the screen. Okay, and as you arrive to Boston, you come pull into the station. You also yourself know of a private investigator that you can hire. It's well within your means. You're in terms of an academic. They live on Congress Street,
Okay.
so that's a PI.
Okay.
Not something you have to do, just something to bear in mind. You have an extra character there, an extra person, um, and there wouldn't be a skill roll for that. It would just be money.
Right.
So yeah, if you're passing through there, you might want to pick up an extra character. You have the different options in front of you, and just reviewing your job again. The main part is to investigate not necessarily the house itself, but like the happenings involving the house, if that makes sense.
All right.
You,
Competence.
so you pull into Boston Station. It's about middle of the day. Everyone's in good humor. The normal day. The streets are busy.
Okay. Well, the best thing to do is to go see the house first, I imagine.
Okay, that's quite a distance away, but you can. It'll take you like a couple hours to get there, but yeah, you can do it. You want to
Okay.
send everyone, or like do you want to split the party? Normally, I don't recommend splitting the party, but
Well,
because it's one player, it doesn't matter as much. Because like the problem
yeah.
with splitting the party is then you're kind of dictating lots of mini games and people are waiting. But no, one person splitting the party is not a big deal.
Actually, no. I'll go to what's the PI at Congress
He's
Street?
on Congress
Because
Street. It's on the way.
yeah, I'm gonna hire the PI. Do
Okay,
some
so
dig.
can you move your characters, the tokens? Do you have control over them?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
All of them?
Do I have to move any particular way or?
No, 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 no. They should lock to the grid anyway.
Hmm?
Just represent where they're going. And do you have control over the other two? I haven't. I'm just not
Yeah.
sure if you had to. Okay, so you can leave them in Boston Station if you want. You don't have to bring them there if you don't want to. But
I'll bring.
like Wentworth is going, so everyone's going to Con Street. Okay.
Yeah.
You visit the PI, come in, everything's gone sepia all of a sudden, color. Like an old style movie. You have that like what did they call them? Blind, like there's some blinds across the front door. With
Shades.
his name, yeah, he has the shades and the name. And you find Jack Mallone in there in the place. Doesn't know
Yeah.
you. He was just a recommended contact in the area. So neither of you are familiar with each other. You start to talk a little bit. You have some dialogue, and he tells you that he normally investigates like missing people, murders, jealous wives, checking on their husbands, and fidelity issues, and that kind of normal stuff. So,
Mm.
what's the job you're interested in hiring him for?
So I want him to. I want him to dig into the. Is it the Macario family?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get him to dig into the past,
Okay.
if that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways we could go about that. You could either have him join your party and like help you out in terms of the different locations you have, or you could have
Mm.
him maybe do his own investigation independently and rejoin up with you later.
I'm gonna get him to do it independently and join later.
Okay, so he's gonna basically go away on his own, but
Yep.
you pay him a reasonable sum, I would say, but it's well
Uh-huh.
within your means. And you
Perfect.
unlock him as a character, so that's no problem. So we'll just take a look at his sheet. I noticed something interesting about this character actually. He's
Mm.
actually he's a resident of Boston, but he was actually born in Arkham.
Nice.
This is a custom character made by someone called Seth. He's quite a big guy in terms of Cthulhu, so
Uh, his skills are kind of on the average. Well, language is obviously good. Fire.
his credit rating is lower than your other characters because he's not an
He's
academic. He's more of a regular guy. He's a PI. He's a PI, but he has some different.
yeah,
He has a different, more broad. I'd say he has a more broader set of skills than your specialist
yeah,
characters for sure.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's also worth noting he's the only character that has a pistol.
Good point.
Hmm
1911.45.
And the average health of a character is about 11 hit points or so, 10 to 11 hit points. And he's rolling D10 plus 2. I mean, like basically pistol shot isn't it's not necessarily an instant death, but it's almost an instant mortal wound.
Yeah, yeah.
Some would be leading out with that, so you're not dealing with hockey sticks and pen knives anymore.
It's good shot. Good
Hmm
shot.
Working on the main streets of Boston, you know.
Of course, yeah.
So I would
Sure.
consider him fairly good, and his HP is actually very good. So his actual constitution, at least in Cthulhu standard, is decent at 15. That's pretty damn high. Considering other characters hitting around 12, it might that might make the difference between a mortal wound and not a mortal wound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's definitely geared up for his job. That's
Yeah.
actually what I like about these sheets. Like you've got the starter sheets there, but they're all kind of themed to their job. They're not. I don't see any power gamer style ones here. They all make sense. That's like
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect anything less of a PI who like dealing with risky situations and
True. True. Um.
So you want him to do
Okay.
his own private investigation and come back to you. That's no problem.
Yeah. So he's gone off doing his thing.
Yeah. I'll just get his character onto the map, but fundamentally speaking, he's doing his own thing. And I guess basically come back on Congress because we don't have telephones, so
It's true. We'll meet back here.
meet back here. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
I think your party's starting out pretty strong. Could have gone a lot worse, for sure.
Might go to the. Right. So where's the job title? Mysterious happening. Okay, so I need to know about the mystery, I suppose. Mysterious happenings. I wonder if it's in the newspapers. I might go to the Boston Globe, actually.
That's a good point. Okay. Everyone going?
Yeah, we'll all go there.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so this is quite a large building. A lot of people going in and out, a bit chaotic. But you have public access to the front, and you make your way up to the front desk. And you see a couple of people hanging around, um, busy, like very focused kind of conversation. You assume that they work there, and you have someone at the desk. And yeah, just a lot of activity really. So who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to maybe the two guys who are talking among themselves, haven't noticed you, or do you want to talk to the front clerk?
I'll go with the clerk.
Okay. You come up to the front desk, you're all there. She's like, how can I help you today?
So I need access to the Boston Globe records of possible articles related to the what are they called? The Macario family.
Okay. She looks at you a little puzzled, like she doesn't know who the Masario family are. But certainly, beyond that, what you're saying is fairly normal. And she tells you that they do keep a record of the different stories they run. Like she can tell you for sure that there hasn't been any. She doesn't know of any story that they've ran, like a main page story on Masario family, um, this week or this month. But if there is any stories, they'll be held in a place they call the morgue. And she just says it's a bit of a joke name, but it's a bit like the basement of the place, and they keep all the different public stories on record there.
Hmm.
So you need to talk to Arty if you want access to that. And she sort of directs you down, say, a hallway on the right. He's like, Arty's office is down there. You can talk to him if you want to. I wouldn't know anything beyond that, but certainly you can talk to Arty.
All right, let's go talk to Arty.
Okay, so you come in. And the door is closed to the office.
Okay. I assume I'm going to knock on the door anyway.
Okay,
See
you
if
knock
he's
on
there.
the door. He's like, "Who's there? I'm busy."
Let's see. I'm debating whether to send in one of the women instead. Just rule down. Let's just straight away. Let's see.
Both of them are young and attractive. So,
Yes.
but
Sadly, they're not.
I think one of them
Sadly,
has a pretty good charm skill, though.
is it? I can't.
One of them was pretty charming, from what I remember. It was worth.
50. About 15, or I'm looking at the wrong one.
What skill are you looking at?
Charm.
Charm. Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. I'm thinking of a different skill. Oh, sorry, I might be looking at intimidate. Sorry. Yeah, it could be intimidate.
Yeah, they're not great with the charming, which is not my benefit here. So I'm gonna go in, and 2 women will come with because why not? And I
Well,
would like to see the records.
okay, so
Records
you
room.
come in, basically uninvited. You open the door, and he's like, "Who the fuck? Who are you guys? You guys just walking into my office like this, you know?
Hang on, where's
Records?
Now
Who are
look
you?
here.
Who are you?"
I need to see the records of a possible report regarding the Macario family. They need it urgently.
I think that's going to be either intimidation or persuasion for sure. I think if after a good start.
Intimidation. What is? I don't have it. No, my intimidation is garbage. So we're gonna go and persuade.
Okay.
So I said that in a more persuading tone, not an intimidating tone that I went with, but it's fine. D100, I imagine, for persuade.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is D100 system, combat everything.
Oh, you motherfucker! Oh, that didn't go very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, "I don't know who you are. I've never seen you before. Like, I'm not feeling like I have to help you at all. But right now you're making me very uncomfortable.
All right.
And if one of these girls wants to get me a coffee, I mean that's probably all they're good for anyway around here."
That's what's going to kick off Lewis Rousseau. We're going to jump straight in with intimidation and call this guy a cad. We're going to go with D100s because her intimidation
Decent.
I have to get lower than 50. Ugh,
Mm.
Jesus. Here we go. D100. Do it. Yes. She literally walks right up to his face, smacks him in the face, saying, "Now look here. We need those reports, see? You're not thinking about a cat. Don't talk to us like that."
He's literally
Yeah.
he's shocked. He doesn't know what to say, and he's like, "Yeah, yes, ma'am, of course. Sorry, I lost myself there. I lost myself. I was speaking improper." And he gets up and he takes a set of keys from his desk and starts to make his way. He says, "Follow me, please." Okay, so you make your way down to the lower basement of the Boston Globe. And he opens up. It's like a dark. You go in. There's like a musty smell in the air. Place is a little disorganized. There's like cabinets everywhere, filled with old newspapers and clippings of records, and you know. And you notice in the corner of the room a boiler. So essentially, it's the boiler room, and they just keep old records here.
Okay.
But there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot here. But I think that the main thing, he's there with the key. He's watching what you're doing, making sure you're not, seeing what you're doing really. Because he's kind of in charge of this of the morgue. It's one of his main jobs.
Suppose I have to ask him so if he knows anything about the Macario.
Yes, like what year are we talking? When's the Like, is this a recent thing, or like how far back are we going? Like, our records go back to the early 1800s.
I want all the records. All of them.
All of the records on the Macario family. Ah, jeez. Well, it looks a bit messy, but I mean everything is in chronological order here by date, not by family records. Um, so you could probably work your way back.
God. Is it alphabetical? At least. I'm guessing not.
Some are, some aren't. If it depends on the cabinet, depends on. I mean, like you see cabinets that look organized. You see paper stacked on top of the cabinets. You see collections of clippings, and that's all just random junk as well. It's been used as a janitorial room as well, so that would vary for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
I think the main thing here is that you just need to spend a bit of time searching the
Okay.
records. There's nothing really. There's nothing here that's really opposing you. I should say. It's more a question of
Okay.
time. Are you willing to invest the time into finding what you need?
Yes.
Okay.
I need all the time.
Okay. We have three characters there. Perhaps you could even get a persuade roll on Arty. He might even help you too.
Intimidate him otherwise. Yeah, I'll go with persuades to get him to help since he is
Okay.
man in charge. So
Okay.
D100. Oh yes, persuaded.
Okay. So basically, you perform a somewhat regimented search of the room, dividing it into quarters. You're there for a couple of hours. We're heading more into evening, but you certainly do a decent scan of the room for sure. So I think you find what you need.
Yeah.
So you find a feature story that was never published. So there was an event that occurred, but it just wasn't breaking enough, I suppose, to be published. It says in 1800s, a family of French immigrants moved into the house, but fled after a series of violent accidents left the parents dead and three children crippled. The house long stood vacant. So this is post landlord knowledge. So he would be interested in that. He would know that buying the house. And then in 1909, another family moved in and immediately fell ill. And then in 1914, coming more recent times, I think we're in 1920, roughly speaking. So that's getting more recent time. The oldest brother of family went mad and killed himself with a kitchen knife, and the heartbroken family moved out. And then in 1918, a third family moved in, the one you're interested in, the Macarios, which were rented the house, but they left almost immediately after they became ill.
Okay.
So there's quite a tragic lineage
Sickness.
of illness. Well, you have to understand that illness is a very vague term. It could mean physically ill, it could mean mentally ill.
Yeah.
And also highlight the fact that one of them went mad, so I would personally be leaning towards mental illness, but it could be a physical sickness in the body too, for sure. And also note the fact that one of the records here dates as far back as early 1800. That the family fled after a series of violent accidents, so that puts the house at being 20, 40 years old at least. And also I should note that the Boston Globe doesn't go back further than the 1880s.
Okay.
So that's important. That's not necessarily the origin of the house. That's just as far back as their records go.
All right. Okay. Everybody stands up. We're done here.
And Arty's like, I was wondering if one of you be free tomorrow for, yeah. He's like sweating profusely, looking down.
Spit it out, man. I've no time.
Maybe a coffee. Yeah, a coffee. Coffee be good. Yeah, coffee. With this lovely woman here, and he's pointing towards he's like gesturing towards Lois, the person who slapped him, blushing a little bit.
Now look here. We don't have time for this, see? We need to sort this goddamn house out. So, Lois, on your own time. I'm not paying you to dilly-dally with goddamn newspaper men.
Well, she's here for doing you a favor anyway, so she's not too tied up in this. Yeah, she looks at you and kind of just she gives you a knowing look and rolls her eyes.
That's fine. We're out of here. Let's roll. As this.
Yes, of course. Maybe some other time. And he nervously locks the door, and you make your way out, and you keep a record of your notes.
All right. I'm gonna go to the Hall of Records.
Okay. Bring the whole crew.
Yep.
Okay. As you make your way there, at this point it's becoming evening. The lights in the city are starting to, it's kind of like that twilight between day and night. Some of them are starting to turn on. And you come to the Hall of Records.
How am I getting around? Do I have a car?
That's a good question. You don't have a car because you took the train, so I'm going to assume you're either walking or you're taking a taxi. I haven't really brought it up because financially speaking, you don't have an issue. No, well, time does pass.
Say a taxi.
I'll say a taxi because, financially speaking, yeah, you could easily afford a taxi. You didn't drive here. The train was faster. Because there is a certain pressingness to it. You obviously don't want this to take a week or two. The landlord wants an answer to what happened to the family and what the hell's going on at his house. He wants to get it rented as soon as possible. The longer it's derelict, basically the worse. Okay, so for me, the Hall of Records it's something like an old-fashioned bank building, and it's government run. It's not like the civilian thing. Much more organized. And you come in. It's very quiet. It's getting late. And the clerk at the front of the door is basically saying we're thinking of closing soon. You want to come back tomorrow or
Damn it, man! There's no time. Matter of urgency. Don't you understand?
Well, I suppose I could stay, I don't know, maybe another half hour, I guess, if you just want to check something quickly.
Perfect. Excellent. Gentlemen. Lead the way, sir.
Okay. So, what are you looking for, though?
I'm looking for the history of the, possibly the house or the Macario family themselves, or
Okay.
that killed himself.
Okay, well, the Hall of Records is more government based, so I would say, unless there was a criminal record of the family, that you wouldn't expect to find anything in that regard. But certainly the house, yeah. Yeah, you could definitely find records in the house.
Of the house. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely find some government records related to that.
Hold the house, etc. Who made it? Whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That will require your use of library skill this time.
Okay. Where's my library? 6.
Have half an hour. So I'm going to say this is about. This is not a basic level. This is definitely a more advanced level skill. Well, I'll give you 2 rolls. I'll give you 2 of your characters can make a library use roll, and after that you'll have to push your luck.
Okay. So D100 for the old library roll for Avebury. That's all right. His power is 60, so.
Power?
Sorry, the library.
Okay.
60.
What did you roll?
35.
35. Kind of my GM screen. I'm not checking your rolls. 45.
45, yeah.
That would normally be a success, but because you're in a hurry, that's a fail. You need a 30.
What?
Because you only have half an hour. I mean, if you had more time,
Damn you.
So you have another one of your characters that are he's searching in one section of the hall records, so someone else is searching a different area. So you get a second roll without having to push your luck.
All right. Well, we're gonna go with Kiko. He has 50. Oh. That. 24.
24. Wow, you just nailed it. Okay,
Easy.
no problem. Even the short amount of time you had, you fall upon the right set of records. And one filed under the name Corbitt House. You just open the cabinet, there's the file, no problem.
Perfect.
Yeah, nice, Sam. Nice one. I thought this was gonna be a real problem for you, to be honest with you. Alright, there's a bit of delay here, but my machine is. I'm waiting for my machine to do something.
Upgrade that machine.
Well, I don't know if it's a machine really. There's so much software running here. I have my GM tab with all the characters. I have player screen, the stream software, and the PDF and everything else. And of course, YouTube liveness as well.
It's true.
And I guess the 3D dice don't help too much either, but I'm not getting rid of them. Okay. That was civil court records. Different style to D&D for sure, no?
D&D. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. All about the info, gathering info.
Info is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know if that shows up on your screen.
It's just showed up there.
Okay, civil court record. Okay, so this shows someone who created the will of Walter Corbitt. Was a Reverend Michael Thomas. Chapel of Contemplation. The Church of Our Lord, Granter of Secrets.
Interesting.
A register of churches. Notes the closure of the building on Common Street. Chapel of Contemplation, 1912. So this is what exists in relation to the house. So you have the will of the guy,
Okay.
and also some mention of a church.
Okay. Where do I find the will? Is that in Hall of Records?
That's a good question, Tom.
Oops.
That's a good question. You can certainly look for it.
In less than 30 minutes. uh,
Guy's looking at you. It's like he's not visible, but he's like shouting in the hall. He's like, 10 minutes, guys. We're closing up. Closing up shop.
All right, so we're gonna get kicked out of Hall of Records anyway. So I'm gonna go back to Jacques Mallone to get some information, and then possibly find this.
Okay, so you leave the place, and yeah, okay. You leave the place, getting dark. I mean, you make your way to Connor Street. He could be there. You don't know. I mean, it's late. You might be looking at a hotel or something at this stage. You spent most of your day. Well, you arrived in the middle of the day. You then went and hired the guy. You spent about 3 hours in the Boston Globe, and then you've just really sneaked the Hall of Records at the end of the day. So I mean, he could be there. He might not be there. It's hard to say. It's dark.
I assume there's hotels on Congress Street.
Yeah. Well, actually,
All
no.
right,
Sorry, my apologies. I'm wrong on that. This is a district. This is the three different districts mainly. You have Essex Street, which is got a dock, so by the river, wide open area, more residential. The place you're in now is busy, and it's largely a residential area. So hotel, not sure. But then on Prince Street, it's a series of more narrow streets, but has more businesses. So you'd have a better chance on Prince Street to find a place to stay.
Right.
But you could search either area. You haven't really searched either zone, so it's only general knowledge at this point.
So how do I search? Do I just
choose one of your skills? I'm sure there's one applicable, no?
So what skill would I look for that?
I see, for example, navigate, history.
Navigation.
I mean, you could also just ask somebody. It's a busy area. There's a lot of people in this particular district.
Okay. Can I ask someone?
Yeah, you could ask someone whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the hotel?
Hotel. Okay. Okay, I say, hotel. There's not many here. There's one near the police station. Yeah, there's. It's not. I mean, it's not the best, but yeah, there's one down by the police station. You just head down south down this direction here. You'll find a place to stay. So there is one on
All
Conga
right.
Street near the police station. Is how they direct you.
All right. Go there.
You go there. There you go.
Perfect.
You find I don't know if I'd call it a hotel. It's more of a motel. It's definitely a little bit below your normal standards. Kind of a bit of a seedy district, but regardless, it will do for the night. You check in,
Save some money.
save
Yep.
money. Well, money's no obstacle for you guys, and time either. It seems being academics must be out a
Exactly.
semester or something. But yeah, okay. And I'm guessing in the morning you probably want to check on the PI, no?
Yes, but I assumed maybe sleeping first. Let him fucking sleep as well, or do his work overnight, whichever he does.
Yeah. I'm kind of progressing into morning now. The early morning, having your breakfast, which consists of coffee and cigarettes, and inside, of course, and yeah, you basically have all the options available to you. But I'm assuming that you want to go back on because you're already on Congress Street. I'm assuming you want to check up on your PI.
So I'm gonna check up on him now.
Yeah. Okay, so you go in and check the office, and the office is empty. And then the like clerk or receptionist or whatever is saying, "Yeah, he's still out of town. So he actually left town." And
Left town, eh?
left town. I'm just going to double check now where he's gone to.
This guy skipped town on me.
Ah. Yeah, yeah, as far as you know, he's left the town. And basically, yeah, I said, "Oh yeah, of course." And she hands out. She left a note in case you came back.
Damn it,
And
woman! Why did you tell me sooner?
it's early morning. What are you talking about? Get off my case. And what's the name of your character again, Tom? Just to save my poor computer.
Avebury.
Avebury. Okay. Mr. Avebury, out at Roxbury Sanitarium. Something's not right. Back soon. And she said, "Yeah, he said he'd be back.
Girl,
He said he'd
where's
be back in a day or two." Like, oh, you asked where it is. Okay, so it's outside town. It would actually take maybe like a day to go out there.
okay? Uh, uh, but I need to find that church as well.
That's true. You know it's on Congress Street.
Mm.
I mean, once again, you could just ask somebody. I don't see a reason why not. Yeah.
You're one behind the desk. Where's that church?
Church of Contemplation. Oh, that's a very that'd be a well-known location. Yeah, I don't recommend going there. There's a lot of troublemakers hanging around there. But you really must.
Damn it, girl! I didn't ask for your opinion. I asked for direction.
Okay. She gives you the directions, and she says, "You know, it's not far. It's not a place I expect academics to be hanging out. It's been closed for a while. Don't know why, but I'm sure Jack knows more about it than I do."
Excellent. We'll go there.
Okay. Chapel of Contemplation. So as you investigate the church, the area looks actually a little bit overgrown. It's just, in a sense, it's not really what you were expecting. So it's quite an old church. Essentially, it's a weathered ruin, not established. It's quite a small one, being a chapel. It's like a weathered ruin. Slumping walls, overgrown graves, that kind of thing. And then near one of the entrances, you see a symbol and represented by 3-letter Ys that are kind of arranged in a connecting pattern. And the center
Okay.
is a staring eye. So I get you a visualization of this now.
Ah, yes.
I'm not saying anything. But that's the symbol you see over the ruined doorway. And there doesn't seem to be anyone around. I mean, it looks like it's been abandoned for a while. But you could obviously do a much more in-depth search of the place if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we'll do that. We'll check it out.
So if you can imagine there's 3 standing walls and one side is completely collapsed and you have the exterior with like the graves and so on, and then you have the interior.
Okay. I get one of the group to do the exterior and one to do the interior.
Okay. Whereas the main guy just stands looking at the main entrance, is it?
I'm going to look at the symbol a little bit more.
Okay, very good. Okay, so who's on the outside, who's on the inside for skill things?
Let's see. I'm going to send
What's my camera doing? Okay.
Lois Rousseau into inside and
Okay.
Kiko outside.
Okay. And could I have spot
Look.
hidden? Spot hidden.
Spot hidden, is that?
I would well, I would have to read the full rulebook, not just the quick start rules. But
Oh.
I mean, to spot something that's hidden, that sounds fairly useful in this situation.
Damn it, I should have said an 8-3 and then. That's fine, I'll do Kiko, so she's 45. So 100. Okay. Of these high numbers, that's she finds nothing.
Okay, so she spends some time wandering around the graveyard, but doesn't find anything of note yet. It's more a question. I can't think of a way to push your luck. So for me, that would just be more of a case of time. So we'll move on to the other character. She comes inside the house. Search. I guess a similar kind of thing, no? You step in, you're wandering around, trying to find something of interest. Find a couple of old stones and like collapsed roof and that kind of thing. Here's some creaking, like from the old boards in the building. At this point, I will need you to do a luck roll. What's your luck?
45.
45. Okay, do your roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 45. Yeah.
94.
94. Okay. Okay. As you're walking through the building, the creak of the floorboards turns into a crack of the floorboards, and basically the floorboards collapse.
Oh.
And if I could have you roll a d6 for me, Tom, that'd be great.
Two.
Okay. Your character falls a floor into what looks like a basement and takes 2 points of damage.
Ew.
Not nice, but certainly not the end of the world. If you roll a 6, you would have been looking at mortal wound stuck at the bottom of the floor. That's not the case. Yeah, so basically you're in a derelict building. You tried to do your investigation, failed, do your luck, failed badly, and fell through the floor. Yeah. So you're surrounded by splinters and junk and everything. It's quite dark in this area, but your senses come back to you. And this area wasn't obvious at the get-go because it was sealed off with overgrowth and so on. But you notice that in the corner where like the building had collapsed, there's an obvious staircase there. And within this room itself, again being dark, there's a cabinet. There's two skeletons dressed in robes, and the rest is essentially in ruin.
Investigate the cabinet and skeletons.
Okay. What skills would you like to do?
But I see it.
Well, what are you starting with? What are you starting with?
I'll go with the. Just go for the cabinet.
Okay. What check are you using?
Spot hidden again.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
exactly a normal skill check.
I think a spot hidden's decent.
She's like 20 spot hidden, so I'm never gonna.
Well, I mean, a lot of this is a question of time, and you have other characters there as well. Like you have your main guy, the professor, who's doing nothing at the moment, just shouting there, "You right down there!" And you have the other girl searching out the graves.
Oh,
So you can obviously get more characters involved here, especially since you have
Well,
an entrance. You
yeah.
need to clear off some of the. Well, she's technically she's technically stuck down there. And you need to clear off that stone so that you're going to be here for a while anyway.
Well, gonna get Avery and feckin' Kiko to start
Yeah.
working that then.
They can start shifting the stone. Won't take them too long.
Alright.
At most half an hour. They're both working on it.
Spot hidden with her anyway while she's waiting. So 100. Oh my god, I actually fucking beat it. What? I rolled a 15 for
Nice.
a 25.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you search the cabinet. At first glance, you see a bunch of old journals, bad repair. As you're flicking through them, they're literally falling apart. They're very old. They seem to be like damaged in some way. And but as you're turning through them, one name in particular catches your attention, which is Walter Corbitt, who's one of the previous owners of the house. And there's an entry there in the records that says that Colbert was buried in his house in accordance with his wishes and with the wishes of that who waits in the dark. You assume that this is either the will itself or in reference to the will. Okay. And then alongside the journal is a huge tome written in what you assume to be Latin. A lot of it is in ruin, but the main sections you can't understand. And as you hold the book in your hand, you just start to develop a sick kind of feeling. It looks a lot older than the other books on display.
Okay.
I'd say about 30% of it is readable. The rest has been ruined by maggots and age. It's not exactly been kept in pristine condition, but it looks like it's written in Latin.
Okay. Looks like a job for Avery.
Could be. You could certainly pass it up. I mean, well, it is quite old. I don't know if I'd recommend that. But basically, through searching it, you found an ancient, large journal. You've also found the will or a reference to the will talking about where the guy is buried. And yeah, I mean, doing okay at the moment.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave those for Avery because he actually has Latin as 70, so I'm gonna work on that. Let's investigate those two skeletons.
Okay.
So I have to be 25 again, which I doubt that's gonna happen, but 51, no.
51. Okay. So you look at the skeletons. You're not, well, for one thing, you're not sure why they're there, because all that you know about from the Hall of Records is that the church was Was it closed? There was no mention of any
Yep.
deaths. You're fairly confident that they worked there, but you have that's you've nothing that anything that would be less than obvious. You don't really glean.
Okay.
At this point, Avery and your student have cleared the stairs, and they can make their way down if you like.
Yep. Gonna get Avery to look at the books and Kiko to look at the bodies.
Okay.
She's got biology.
Okay. Good. Yeah. You want to do a biology check?
So, so she's 70 from
Okay.
52. Yeah.
Easy success. She gleams quite easily that the bodies themselves and the general area seems to have undergone some kind of fire damage. In addition, you see something glinting around the neck of one of the priests.
Can I investigate that or
No,
can
I
I pick
mean
it
you
up?
can naturally just pick it up.
Yep.
It's just a question of who's picking it up. Kiko, I guess.
Kiko, yeah.
Yeah, she takes it up into her hand, and it's like this small, I guess, avatar or icon, shaped a little bit like a toad, and it's made out of some green, like emerald material or something like that.
Okay. Uh, take that. And there's nothing else I can glean from the bodies, I assume.
Not
I
really. I
assume.
mean, they're the priests of the church. There seems to be fire damage done to the bodies. Based on the fact that the stairs was collapsed, you could easily presume they were trapped, intentionally or unintentionally. And yeah, I wouldn't say there's much more you could really get from that. Regards to the book that you found, and I'll tell you right now, Tom, there was a very good chance you wouldn't have found that. But regardless, Wentworth is flicking through it as carefully as he can. It's dark, and he's kind of it's a bit like information overload. There's too much here. There's too much going on, and he would need more time to sit down and really try to digest this book. Nothing
It's fine.
obvious. Yeah. Likewise, at this point, everyone in the room is feeling a little bit uneasy and a bit sick.
The book. The book. um. Okay. Well, we have to get out of here. So.
Okay.
So yeah, we leave the church behind, and maybe go. Could go to the Corbitt House straight away.
Could do, yeah.
Jack, I assume, is still away. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the Corbitt House.
Okay.
Yep.
No problem. You go to the Corbitt House. Everyone?
Yep.
No problem. Okay, as you make your way towards the house, it's like down a windy road on Prince Street. It stands out a little bit in the sense that the area has been built up with a lot of businesses, and there's like this one little house hiding in the shadow of a narrow street. So it kind of sits out of place, essentially.
Okay.
And
Classic.
yeah, it actually reminds me a little bit of. Do you remember that movie Up? If you ever watched it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The house in the
Yeah. It's exactly like that. And as you approach the house, there's seems to be a large group of cars there.
Okay. Okay. What kind of cars?
Okay, that would require probably a history check or a street smart check or something like that, because none of you are from Boston, so
Okay, so
Jack would probably have helped you out with that one. as an
Yeah.
automatic success, but means you're all tourists. Well, like
Trying to
we can
figure
tell at
out
a glance anyway is that they look like maybe four-seaters. They're black.
drive auto skill check. I don't know. Is that a
Let me see now.
that would be our knowledge of cars, surely? No, drive auto.
Let's see.
It's on the first row on the
First row.
first row
Drive
down.
auto.
Down the bottom.
Well, that's in terms of driving. Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, if you know how to drive it, you probably know something about the machine, yeah.
Car knowledge, maybe. I don't know.
Definitely related to your ability to drive, so you might have some knowledge on the car. You could use that one. You could also use history. You could use mech repair.
Mech repair.
Machine repairs. I mean,
Oh, I
like
have
if
that.
if you're like a
That one.
mechanic, you know, like if you were a mechanic with high mech repair, obviously
She is. She is 70, so I'll go with
engineer.
that then.
Okay.
I'll roll a 100 there. Beat 70. Which I do quite easily. 56.
Okay. He recognizes the make of the car and automatically recalls from reading the newspaper and so on in Arkham that this is a popular make of car with gangsters.
Okay.
For a large, spacious interior for hiding persons.
Okay.
Several cars outside the house.
So these are the new tenants, huh? Gangsters.
It is early. Oh, it's not lunchtime yet, but it's like kind of early day.
Yeah.
The house is quite small on a windy road. So there's three cars lined up and they're taking up a lot of space on the path for sure. You'd have to like really work your way around them.
Okay.
Likewise, because of the house's relation to the other buildings, you don't see anyone. I mean, there could be people in the car you can't see because you can't get a direct line from the other side of the road. There could be people inside the house. Once again, you wouldn't be able to see 'cause it's not a great angle, to be honest.
Okay. Well,
But
we
as
need to
far
get
as
past the
you
cars.
know at this point in time, there's nobody here.
Okay.
But that's obvious that someone's here.
Cars. Cars. It's fine. We're just gonna walk up to the front door and knock.
Okay. As you make your way to the front door, you see two large men, and a little further off, what looks like a priest. And the two guys are kind of getting in the way, like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Back off, back off.
Okay.
This is private property. Nothing to see here.
I'll have you know that the owner of this establishment called for me.
Okay. One of the guys like steps in there. He's like, "Buzz off, old man. This has nothing to do with you. And if you know what's right for you, you'll turn and walk away."
I intimidate with Lois.
You can. It would be an extremely difficult role, but yeah, it'd be extreme difficulty. So what's her third tier of difficulty?
A third tier, 10, I imagine. Ugh.
In the background, you see the priest looking around a bit nervously, like he's trying to kind of get out of sight, not sure what's going on, and he makes his way towards the house.
Can I talk to him?
He's about 10 feet away, and you have these two guys in front of you. And it's very obvious he doesn't want to talk to you. But yeah, I mean, there's no, he's within shouting distance.
Can I call him over?
You can try. I mean, yeah.
Possible? Yeah. Call him over.
Okay, you call over to him. He looks around nervously. He's kind of ducking his head down, pretending he didn't hear you. And the guy in the front, he was like pushing you now. He's like, "Hey, seriously, back off." And on that instance, you see one of the car doors open. Looks like there was a driver in one of the doors. He's making his way behind you.
Okay. Well, it's time to back away from this, I guess.
Okay, so you want to just walk away for
Yeah, we're
now?
gonna walk away from
Okay.
it for now.
As you walk away, the driver is like, "Yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of here."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I don't have my gun, so that's where we're gonna go back to get Jack Mallone.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, so I'm gonna retreat all the way back to Congress Street and Jack Mallone's office.
Okay. Find him. Yeah, so Jack's there at this point, and he's filling you in on the sanitarium. So on his investigation, he tried to locate the family, and he found a couple of people. He found the husband and wife there, and basically they're in an insane asylum. And the husband himself is basically raving mad. And he said he found him in like basically one of those white rooms, clinging to a Bible and just rambling continuously. The wife was a
Okay.
bit more sober, but he was short because she got upset quite quickly about the entire situation. But what he was able to gather was that the essentially there was like a presence in the house,